So I'm back in Utah. Record scratch. You might be wondering how I ended up here. It's a long story, and I'm sure I will get to it. I am currently back on Cottonwood Canyon Road. At the moment, I am just leaving the trailhead for Paria River, and we're going to see what we've got to see. Hopefully, there's a lot of glare on the screen, so I don't know exactly how well you're picking up the background, but it is the first week of March, so there's no leaves on the trees or anything like that. But as a bonus, you get the beautiful color of the bare shrubs and everything here. Maybe you can kind of see that behind me. So it's got a beauty of its own, so to speak. So why am I here? Well, I actually was out in Lone Pine, California for a photography meetup that Bree Stockwell put together, and that was a great time. Oops, just found a thorn bush on my leg. Let's get this thorn bush out of the way of my crotch. Anyways, Bree Stockwell put together a little photographer meetup, and we were hanging out at Josh Cripp's gallery for presentations and discussions and doing some shooting out in the field, although it was extremely windy. And I was debating where to go and what to do after the meetup, because the meetup is really just 2 days. And I had been debating, I really wanted to get over to Yosemite, and when I was in the Lone Pine, the park, Yosemite Park, had actually been fully shut down because of the blizzard that was rolling through the Sierra Nevadas in that general area. The park reopened by the time I would have been leaving to head that way. But I've also got a lot going on in my personal life right now in terms of some health issues within the family, so to speak, and without going into details, I didn't know that leaving Lone Pine, where I was already 2 full days of driving from home and heading another 5.5 to 6 hours at least into Yosemite, was the wisest move. And on top of that, looking at the forecast for Yosemite, it looked like there was a slight possibility of some winter weather coming in around the time I would need to be leaving. The last thing I want is to get stranded there for an extra day or two, because I do need to get home to help out with everything that's going on. I actually didn't even know if I was going to be doing this trip until basically the morning before I left. I had determined that I was going to have to cancel the trip to stay close to home, and then things kind of quieted down a little bit, and the family agreed it made sense for me to go, so I didn't miss the meetup in Lone Pine. Plus I was giving a little presentation. But needless to say, there's been a lot of ups and downs, so it's one of the things I'm sure I'll be talking about here in a little bit, is just how life's distractions, so to speak, can really impact one's creative mindset. Because I will be totally honest, part of me has been just wanting to go home. I think so far I've taken maybe 5 compositions, or shot 5 compositions in Lone Pine in the Alabama hills, and that was in one morning. Now, granted, the conditions weren't the best out there anyways, between wind and heavy clouds, but it does speak to also just kind of where my frame of mind has been. I've not been feeling very creative or quote unquote in the game at all. So it's kind of where things stand. I ended up deciding to head back eastward, kind of sort of towards Texas, and that is, I guess, what turned out to be a long-winded way of saying how I ended up here in Utah again. To be perfectly honest, part of it too is Utah has become kind of my happy place. I think I talked about it in one of my Utah videos from my fall trip, but I've really grown to love the scenery and probably more than anything, the sense of solitude that you can get when out exploring remote areas such as this Cottonwood Canyon Road area. Yesterday, driving up and over here from Lone Pine was really the first time I kind of had any sense of true excitement on this trip. Oop, watch out for the big cow patties. Just kind of going back to, again, the familiarity of it and my happy place. Like I said, I had been contemplating Zion as well, which, again, as I've mentioned in prior videos, I do really want to get there. But conditions weren't looking necessarily the best there. I actually chatted with Ben Horn a little bit on Instagram messaging about what things were looking like as he happened to be there. And yeah, again, there was a lot of uncertainty in terms of just my mind in general. And I decided to go to someplace familiar, even if I don't get any photography in out here. Again, I'll say it again and again and again. It's my happy place. So if nothing else, I'll get a night or two of camping in and hopefully kind of settle my mind related to everything going on back home. So right now, I think I mentioned I'm down at the Paria River trailhead here, looking, just kind of doing a quick little scouting hike and really just to get moving. Between sitting in the car for a good 9-10 hours yesterday and not feeling terribly motivated to get up and out of the hotel that I stayed in Page last night, I've been pretty sedentary. So just getting the blood flowing, but also trying to see if there is a spot where I can ford the river. It shouldn't be too terribly deep. And it looks like maybe up here, woo! Good old Utah wind again. Hopefully my new microphone setup here is cutting that out. But anyway, it looks like there might be a spot here, although the far shore is a bit of a drop. So anyways, I'm going to focus on where I'm walking. That's the status update now. Like I said, I do want to spend some time just talking about photography and mental health and distractions and everything as well related to the kind of creative endeavor that it is. Maybe I've already said all that needs to be said here, but definitely been something that's been on my mind a lot the last few days as my creative spark has completely fizzled. So with that said, like I said, I'm going to focus on where I'm walking. I want to try to get back over that way, and I think I might be able to do so right back there in terms of getting across the little riverbed here. So more to come, most likely. Well, I actually ended up heading the opposite direction after crossing the river. Thankfully, unlike my November trip, I remembered not only my neoprene socks, but also my Tiva sandals, so I don't have to get my boots all muddy. I want to head back. My finger's stuck in my tripod. I want to head back in that area where there's a bit of a canyon. I crossed the river. I opted not to cross it back, but I'm a little concerned now that I should have. I am up above the river. I don't know if that's going to show on the video at all, but there's a good steep riverbank right here, so I'm hoping I can continue on along this way and then it'll come back down to the water level. If not, I'm going to have to backtrack and cross back over the river and continue on my way back there. So we're just going to see. It is getting a little overcast, but it's supposed to clear out, so fingers crossed that holds true. It's about, I think it's a little after 2 p.m. The sun is still a ways up there, so theoretically speaking, I've got a while to go until the sun would fall behind the hillside here. So I'm just kind of following cow tracks and cow patties through this sandy riverbank floodplain, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, up here. And like I said, fingers crossed that I can actually get down back to the river level and get myself back into that canyon. I've not been along here, I've not been back in this canyon, so this is entirely new for me. One thing I don't think I mentioned on the first clip I recorded either is, you know, I'm here due to unforeseen circumstances, and like I said, at risk of boring you with repeating myself, going to my happy place that I'm familiar with and I love. But kind of looking at this as just a scouting opportunity. I hadn't planned to be here at all. I'm here. If I find some photography opportunities, great. If not, hopefully I'll be able to scout some new locations like this and mark them for future visits. Who knows, maybe I'll be back this fall again. I'm kind of leaning towards that, given how beautiful it was when I was here back in November. So that's the plan. Wish me luck that I can actually get back down to the river without having to completely backtrack. All right, well, I've had to cross the river 3 more times, but I did get down from that upper bank thanks to a nice little furrow or whatever that cows had worked into it over time. So that was a nice easy descent that I was worried about. I am now coming up on, where is it? The canyon I'm aiming for. So hopefully you can kind of see my surroundings here. But just really, really quite beautiful out here. And I might have to do yet another crossing, maybe not. Fortunately, I decided to bring my video tripod, so I'm not having to use my main camera tripod to gauge the depth of the water. Nothing's been really deep. The worst has been pretty much mid-calf. So that's been workable. And it looks like I might have to cross over again, or maybe I can go up on the bank behind me and just work around this little spot. But I'm running out of sandy bank to walk on. And here we go. Just about to enter this little bit of canyon. We'll see if it stays narrower like that or widens back out. I believe my recollection of looking at the maps on Google and whatnot, it stays fairly wide, but there is a narrower section. I just can't remember if this is it or if it was further down. So anyways, sure is pretty. And I got a nice shallow, at least what should be a shallow water crossing that I'm going to have to do in order to get back in the canyon. So it's looking like right about here it should be pretty good. It's nice and wide, so it should be an easy cross. Piece of cake. All right, let me see if I can avoid the glare on the screen here, but you can see the composition I've got set up, kind of centered, or not centered, but focused on the lower third is the main subject with the rocks and the main textures of the rivulets coming off of them from the water that's come through here. There's a dead leaf caught up on the rock here, and then there's also a leaf. It almost looks like an impression of a leaf in the sandy soil right down here. If you have a little distraction down in the lower right corner, I'll probably just clone that out. It's a couple small pebbles that created some little streaks in the sand as the water came through here. Can't quite get it framed the way I'd like to avoid those. But overall, I think I like this composition. I don't need to focus stack it. I'll double check, but I'm pretty sure I don't need to focus stack it. And then I think I'm going to try a tighter shot as well, just more centered in on this area, the main focal area of the composition I've got here. So I'll play around with that. Like I said, I do want to check, I do want to check my focus. So if I zoom in on image review, that's not what I wanted to do at all. Well, you can see I was at Lone Pine. So let's go back to image review. You're getting a sneak peek of my Lone Pine images. Okay. I want to zoom in. That's the dial I was looking for. And I'm just going to move around the frame to make sure everything's nice and focused. That leaf is focused. The rock looks good. There's that other leaf that I said almost looks like just the impression of one in the soil. So I think everything's looking nice and sharp. So again, this is only about 55 millimeters at f/16, so shouldn't have been a need to do focus stacking here. But always worth double checking because I can't come back here easily to get this shot, obviously. So that all looks good. So let's go ahead actually and play with a little bit tighter composition here. See what we can come up with. This is kind of what I had originally had in mind. I took a test shot with my phone. Let me rotate this. And I want to leave enough room on the bottom around the lighter soil that's been swept by the water, and enough room on the framing on the left side with this rock here. So that's what I'm really looking at on this main composition. Everything else is kind of leading off to the upper right portion of the frame. I think that looks good. Let's adjust my focus point. We're going to zoom in, make sure we're focused on it. We look good there. I'm going to brighten it up just a smidge. Still at f/16, 1/8 of a second. So you can see the composition there without the glare. I don't have my remote, so I've got it on a 2-second timer. Shouldn't have to worry about wind shake, but I'll wait for a little bit of a break, which I've got now. And there's the frame. So let's go into image review, zoom in again to check focus. That all looks good. That all looks good. Look nice and sharp throughout, I believe. Yeah. So I think we're good there. And again, this should have been around, yeah, this has got the lens maxed out at 105 millimeters. So I do like that. As to which composition I prefer more, just off the cuff right here, I'm kind of leaning towards this one, just because it's a little bit more simplified, a little less busy, but we'll see what I think when I get back on the computer. Well, I'm about to set up here and do some more little detail shots. Maybe I can get this in. There's some great reflected light coming off this canyon wall here as the sky's starting to clear up out to the west. And there's some really awesome little details all through here. So I've got a composition just down here I'm going to shoot closer to my feet where I'm standing here. And then I've got another one a little bit further down that I'm going to take care of, that I'm going to take a shot of. But before I do that, I just wanted to show you just how absolutely gorgeous this area is. Again. So hopefully that's showing up well enough back there over my right shoulder, but just absolutely beautiful. This is exactly what I needed for my mind and my soul right now. So I'm going to set up for these smaller compositions, and I think I'm going to maybe do a wider composition looking back that way as I awkwardly point at it. But yeah, this is just Absolutely beautiful out here. Very, very happy I came out here. Also very happy that the sun is coming back out because it was getting cold where I was shooting that last composition of the little details in the mud along the river. So, good stuff. Not entirely sure how I'm going to shoot this one. It's such a fine little detail, and of course there's quite a bit of wind coming through the canyon here. But I tried taking a clip of it on the other camera, but it's just this lacework pattern of decayed leaf that's left here. And then there's another leaf kind of almost plunged into the riverbank. So I don't want to shoot straight down necessarily because I don't think that's going to really show off the delicate lace of this decayed leaf. But I got to be careful about shooting too horizontal as well for the sake of not bringing in a whole bunch of other background distractions. This is definitely a scene that I want to kind of minimize or keep somewhat minimal. So I'm gonna get my camera out and get this set up because I'm afraid that the wind is going to come through and decide to take that leaf away. Let's see if I can find a dry-ish spot to put my bag. This one, I think I'm going to try the 100-400 actually. Before I do that, should have gotten my tripod. But I think I'm going to try the 100-400 for the sake of a shallow depth of field, so I can keep the background blurred maybe. If I can get my tripod out of my bag. And we're going to go low, low, low. So I want to be able to show off that intact leaf behind the lacy one. Just not entirely sure what the best way to do that is going to be. I think I'm going to remove this guy carefully if I can without stabbing myself. There's another real lacy leaf right here too. I wish there was a little bit more clear space around this, but let's just get the lens and see what we can get here. Put this back on my setting for the wireless remote. I think I'm probably actually way too close here, but let's just go for it. Actually, let's see. I've got a pretty good minimal focus distance with this 100-400, but this might be pushing it a bit. I think I'm gonna have to bump my ISO up as well. Let's try 400 first, just because there is wind coming through here. Let's drop my aperture to 7.1 maybe. And how tight do I want to go on this? Oh, don't blow away, don't blow away. Now the wind is blowing this way and it's flipping the leaf down. Dang it. This is kind of sort of what I was worried about. I needed to flip it back just as I was getting focused on it. No, 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 no. Shoot. I did not want the wind to change. Now it's completely laying down in the opposite direction it was. Let's see if I can ever so carefully get this back where it was. Come on. Oh, I don't want to break it. Just keeps wanting to blow back. Come on. Can you just hold on for like 2 more minutes? Okay, that might be optimistic. 5 more minutes? No, don't do that. Why did that wind have to change? Okay, I've got it back where it was. Let's try to move quickly here. I'm going to bring the aperture back, close it down. Let's actually do F11. So I just don't feel I'm getting enough of the leaf in focus at F7.1. What's my shutter speed at? 1/50th. I think we're good. Wind is calm. So the lacy leaf is nice and sharp at F11. The leaf behind it is not. So that begs the question, do I want to focus stack this? I think I'm going to, and then I can just pull the couple frames that I want, still keep the soft background, the soft foreground, but try to get these leaves sharp for what I want to do there. So focus bracketing, enable. I don't need 15 shots, so let's drop that down on the R5 here. Let's just do 8. Focus as close as I can. Wait for this wind to calm. And then it'll just fire off the 8 shots front to back, focusing. Come on, wind. It just blew it back to where it was originally. Oh, come on. Okay, we're gonna gamble here and recompose. Let's see what we can get. Let's just do a test here. Let's try that again. It didn't seem to do any focus from front back. Either that or 8 frames is not going to be enough. Eight frames is not going to be enough, or I need to... It just moved again. Or I just need to set my initial focal point kind of at the base of the leaf, because I think that's what's happening is setting the focal point as close as I can, and it's just not even making it to the leaf to focus stack it. So let's just see if we can get this. Too windy, but let's see if that at least works from a focus standpoint. Is that enough to get the back leaf? Yeah. Ironically, okay, I need a moment of reprieve from this wind. I think I might have just got it. Zoom in. Back leaf is nice and sharp. I've got nice sharpness throughout the lacy leaf. So I think I got it. I'm trying to decide if I want to try a different composition of it. What's ideal actually is when the wind is blowing and it's shifting the lacy leaf just a little bit over to the left, so you've got more of a full view of the intact leaf that's kind of speared into the dirt. I almost like that better, but it's going to be, I'm going to just need the perfect wind to cooperate. So anyways, this may not be the most exciting to watch me, so we're going to stop the video. And I just realized too that the sun went behind a cloud again. It looks to be a pretty big cloud, and I've lost all that nice reflected light that was running through here, which stinks because I still have the other composition I want to get. So, drat. Well, we'll see what we get. Hopefully I'm blocking the glare on the screen here. I need to get a polarizer filter for this camera. But anyways, you can see the composition. This is the second composition I had talked about. Fortunately, I got strong sunlight on that canyon wall again and got reflected light. So just focused on the pine cone. Pretty simple. I did do a focus stack on this because the corners were a little bit soft, where there's some variations in the quote-unquote elevation of the riverbank. So it's just going to be a 2-frame focus stack if I even decide to bother, because it's really just a few areas that are out of focus, just very slightly on the edges. So when I get it on the computer, I may decide that what I have in 1 frame is more than sufficient. Similar to that previous small scene composition I did a little while ago, I'm watching my framing, especially on this bottom edge around this little swooping swirl in the sand, as well as on the left, try to make sure I've got plenty of space on both of those. I had originally thought I'd probably compose this a little bit tighter, but I also really like these 2 little additional details here that have the sand swirling or swooping away from them. So there's the composition. Very glad that I got the sunlight back on the canyon wall. I'm going to walk just a little bit further downriver, or actually I guess it's really upstream, and see if I can get that broader vista view while there's some good light. And then I'm probably going to start working my way back because I don't want to be out here when the sun starts going down. It's going to get pretty chilly pretty quick. It's already kind of chilly out here. So that's where we're at. Feeling pretty good. Obviously, so far it's just been small scenes, but I have no qualms about that. Just, again, beautiful hike, beautiful location, beautiful little scenes. All right, I'm wanting to get this broader vista view, but I need to get up because there's grasses and shrubs and stuff between camera and the background that I want to shoot. So I'm going to get up on this rock and see if that gets me high enough to get the composition I want. And we're going to do this without hopefully busting up the camera. Always a good thing. So we'll get the camera there. Not a problem. Easy peasy. No idea if I'm still on camera or not. If I'm not on camera, tripod's set up there even further up, and I think I've got the composition, or at least the angle that I need. So fingers crossed. I'd like a little bit better light. Soft light's not bad, but I'd like a little direct light on the landscape. It would be nice. But let's just see what we get here. That's not bad. Let's see if we can dial this in. And of course now we got wind kind of whipping through here, but let's get a shot real quick. Oh, look at that. Light showed up right as I took the shot too. How thoughtful. Tweak the composition a bit. That light's getting pretty strong back there. I don't know that I'm anywhere near level. I am not. Shouldn't really matter on this particular composition, but just for the sake of OCD, let's try it leveled up a little bit here. I am actually really liking this. Let's see if the foreground is sharp. Not quite. So that begs the question, can I focus kind of in between my subject and the foreground to get everything in focus? Still not quite. Okay, well, for argument's sake here, we're going to do some focus stacking. Might be okay with the foreground just a little bit soft because it's in pretty good shadow anyways, but we will play it safe. Because again, I'm not going to be back here anytime soon. Yeah, I do think focus stack is going to be the solution here, unfortunately. Let's get one more while the light is good and the wind is good. I'm not convinced the wind played nice, so... Okay. Let me grab you on the camera and see if I can show you what's going on here. All right, so here's the composition I was just working on. You can see a really nice strip of sunlight in the foreground, just lighting up these hillsides in the background on the ridges a little bit. So I'm really happy with how that turned out. The foreground, like I said, was a little bit soft, so I think just a 2-frame, maybe 3-frame focus stack will be enough to get that taken care of. Now I think what I do want to do, let's go back to my live view and zoom out. I think I want to try to get a truly wider view. And bear with me, I'm going to move the camera here and I'll have to move the video camera after it. But I think I want to try to get a little bit more truly wide view like so. I don't think I want to go all the way out to 100. Let me see if I can move you over here so you can see what I'm doing. Oh, that worked out pretty well. So I do like this little bit of S-curve coming in through here with the river, but I'm not sure as a composition that works quite as well. Let's see. First of all, let's see polarization does. So you can see I can bring in a lot more color. Hopefully you're seeing that on the recording. Bring in a lot more color in the rock face back here especially. So this is about full polarization. Also get more detail in the clouds. I don't think I need to pull the exposure down much more. Histogram's looking good. Maybe tilt up a bit. I wish there was a little bit more detail in the clouds to make the sky more interesting, so maybe we'll just do something like this. And let's see, I think I still have focus bracketing on. I do. I don't expect I'll need that now that I'm shooting at only about 140 millimeter. So, and again, what I do on a day like this when I'm dealing with breeze is I zoom in on my viewfinder or my LCD screen and I just watch the scene to see if it's shaking from wind, since I'm on a longer focal length here. Take the shot. And let's just double check focus to be sure. But again, I shouldn't, I'm at either F14 or F16, I can't recall which, but I shouldn't need to focus stack at this point. We got detail in the sky. If I check my histogram's all good. What I might end up doing is just cropping off the bottom and the top just a little bit when I get this into the computer. I do want to continue to play with this composition though, just to see, not worry about that little S-curve quite as much, maybe even zoom in far enough to get that out. And let's bring this back down a bit. So I want to avoid having that little bright spot of river in, so I'm just going to turn the gear just ever so slightly. Now this one, I am probably about 275, 280 millimeters, so I might need to consider focus stacking this. Now with this one, I've got much more interesting detail in the sky throughout the sky part of the frame, whereas the other one, as I said, I kind of had that somewhat boring flat clouds in the upper part. Still getting some interest with the river running through. Again, I'm going to have to watch this with focus stack. So again, I'm at F16. We're going to give the wind a moment. We're going to kind of focus in between. Let's focus right there on the far side of the riverbank to see if maybe that'll be a good midpoint to have sharpness in the foreground and the background. And now I'm just going to zoom in, wait for my wind to calm down a little bit so it stops shaking, and I'll take the shot. Well, considering this was pretty much completely unplanned until almost yesterday morning, really, this turned out to be a nice little outing. Absolutely gorgeous area. I would love to have been able to go much further down, obviously, but not surprisingly, the river goes a long ways. And what I don't want to do is get caught out here once dusk hits, because it's probably going to get cold pretty darn quick. So on my way back to the trailhead in my truck, at which point I will then seek out a campsite for the night. And I'm not too sure about tomorrow. I probably need to get on the road by noon, early afternoon, start heading further east again back towards home. I don't want to be scrambling to get back in time. So we'll see what tomorrow brings. I didn't mention it earlier, but in addition to the weirdness of this trip and my mind not really being in the game until this hike today, I also think I'm playing with a little bit of a cold. I thought originally it was just from talking a lot and from the dry mountain air at Lone Pine. But this morning, actually last night overnight, I kept waking up with the old lovely stinging drainage in the back of my throat. It has been better today since I've been moving and on this hike especially, but it's still there. So we'll also see how I feel in the morning regarding that. But overall, again, I am really very, very happy with the fruitfulness of this little hike. Like I said, I've been wanting to do it for, gosh, 2 years now, basically. And I never had the opportunity to. So now I know what's here. I know that I can come back and explore further. Nice light on the landscape further back there. But again, this it's not really a trail. There's basically cow trails that I'm following, but this trail along the river goes a long, long ways. And if I'm not mistaken, people come out here and backpack it. There's also, I came in from Cottonwood Canyon Road. There's also a different route on the other side of the river that would bring me in. I need to look. I think it brings me in, or it would bring me in a little further upstream from where I am, or where I was today. Not entirely sure of that though, so I'd have to double check. So I might do that in the morning. I could see me going back to Hackberry Canyon, where I spent my last day back in November and absolutely loved it. The only thing in there is, what was spectacular in there besides the light was the golden cottonwood trees in the fall. And I obviously won't have any cottonwood trees with any foliage left on them. So, bare cottonwood with the right light on it can still be pretty darn dramatic. So that is a possibility. But as usual with my outings, we shall see what my mood is like, how I'm feeling with this potential cold when I get up. And as I always say, we'll go from there. So I'm going to keep on hiking. I think I got maybe half a mile left, if that. Get back to the truck and, like I said, find a campsite. I'll check in later. All right, I am leaving the trailhead and I might actually head back. What direction is it? South. Just a little bit at least, to see if I can get any compositions in this kind of fading, I guess not quite dusk, but kind of dusk light. The sun is below the horizon, but the sky is still lit up, so you've got that nice glow on all the landscape. The foliage really kind of comes to life. It's just a matter of, can I find a composition? So if I head north towards where campsites are located, I don't really think I have the opportunity for the compositions I want. So I'm going to head south and see what I can find. But again, as I've already said in the video, but that was a great little hike. Definitely will be going back there as well. But just because the sun is set behind the horizon does not mean photography is over, because you can't see it, but off to my right here, there's a lot of this Utah desert foliage, and it's just almost glowing kind of purple in this dusk light. So see if we can find some compositions here and then head to camp. I didn't take any video, but I did get some shooting in at this dusk hour, but obviously the light fades so quickly at this time that I didn't want to potentially miss anything by taking the video, but I was able to get up on the berm of the road here a little bit to get up over some of these taller grasses and shrubs along the way. But decent little sunset, nothing spectacular, just a nice little glow and some purples and pinks just faintly in the sky. But nice little way to cap off the day. And now I am indeed going to go see if I can find a campsite. There's been a couple cars that have gone by this way, so hopefully campsites are available. Otherwise, I'll be going way back south where there's some less desirable campsites that aren't quite as pretty. So, fingers crossed. So today ended up being a pretty good day, actually, considering it was more or less unplanned. So the good news is it seems like I might be able to stay a little bit longer, if not for the entirety of my trip, or my remaining trip that I originally had planned. So that would give me 2 more full days here to wander and explore and work with the camera. We're just going to be taking things day by day back home. I'll be able to do some wandering. I'm contemplating going back to Hackberry Canyon just to check it out for the heck of it this time of year. And as I mentioned earlier, there's the other road that comes up kind of from the other side to Paria River, where I was hiking along today. And I did look at the map. It looks like it connects up with the river further upstream than where I got to today. So it'd be another way to kind of come in from, not really the back way per se, but anyways, just get me further up the river without having to re-hike the whole thing that I did today. So we'll see how that goes. Otherwise, yeah, as with my photography and life in general, I'm just taking things day by day right now. So hopefully I'm feeling good in the morning and can get out with the camera for a couple more days. But either way, until next time, take care.